We marked the human challenger right up until she stepped into the arena. 3 minutes later, our undefeated champion was unconscious and our entire galaxy was terrified. I have been doing this job for 17 cycles now, and I have seen some absolutely ridiculous things in my time as the primary commentator for the Galactic Combat Championships. I have watched a Canarian tear through solid titanium plating with nothing but his mandibles. I have seen a Corlean priestess redirect kinetic rounds using what she claimed was pure meditation, though I suspect there was some telekinetic cheating involved. I have even witnessed, may the ancestors forgive me, the legendary match where Thorax the Unbreakable fought for 6 straight hours without making a single breath. That was mostly boring if I'm being honest, but impressive nonetheless. But nothing, and I mean nothing, could have prepared me for what I'm about to tell you. My name is so far Second Clutch of Themagon, Diplomatic Corps, and before I took this commentary position, I spent 12 years as a Xintu biological analyst for the Galactic Council. So when I tell you that what happened at Station Meridian 7 last rotation changed everything we thought we knew about the galaxy, you need to understand that I am not being dramatic. Well, maybe a little dramatic. It is literally my job to be dramatic. But this time, the drama is actually warranted. Station Meridian 7, for those of you who do not follow the combat sports circuit, is the crown jewel of competitive violence in our corner of the galaxy. The station orbits a dead world in neutral space, specifically chosen because no single government could claim jurisdiction and interfere with the matches. The arena itself is a marvel of engineering, 200 meters in diameter, surrounded by energy shields capable of containing a small nuclear detonation, with seating for 50,000 spectators from every major species in the known galaxy. The floor is made from compressed carbon ceramic composite that can withstand pretty much anything short of antimatter, and even then, we have backups. The Galactic Combat Championships happen twice a cycle, and they are exactly what they sound like. Warriors, mercenaries, soldiers, and various violent individuals from across known space come to prove who is the strongest, the fastest, the most deadly. There are rules, of course: no weapons above Class 4 energy output, no biochemical agents, no temporal manipulation, because we tried that once and it got really confusing really fast. But other than that, anything goes. You win by knockout, submission, or when your opponent can no longer continue. Simple, brutal, extremely popular. The prize? 10 million credits, a championship belt made from auric crystal, and more importantly, bragging rights that extend across 300 colonized systems. Winning the championships means job offers from every military contractor in the galaxy, endorsement deals, and the kind of respect that opens doors even in the most exclusive establishments. It's a big deal, is what I'm saying. Now, our reigning champion at this particular tournament was a walking nightmare named Kravek the Destroyer. Yes, he actually went by that name. No, it was not ironic. Kravek was a fraction, which, for those not familiar with that particular species, means he stood roughly 4 meters tall, possessed 4 arms, each capable of lifting half a ton, and had bone plating thick enough to stop armor-piercing rounds. His skin was a dark purple that looked almost black under the arena lights, and his eyes glowed this unsettling orange color that made you instinctively want to run in the opposite direction. Kravek had held the championship for 3 consecutive tournaments. He had defeated 47 challengers during that time. 17 of those challengers were still in medical rehabilitation. His record was flawless, his technique was brutal, and his personality made him very, very, very easy to root against, which only made the crowds love him more. Combat sports fans are weird like that. Before Kravek, the title had been held by a Corlean named Grimshade. He won 2 tournaments before retiring due to severe neural damage. Before that, a human. No, wait, that's not right. A Herlassian named Vengeance Springer, who held it for 1 tournament before Grimshade literally ripped his secondary arms off. Good times. So there I was, sitting in my commentary booth reviewing the tournament brackets, preparing my usual mix of technical analysis and sarcastic observations when the announcement hit the feeds. A new challenger had registered. Species, human. Named Captain Elena Vasquez. Origin, Earth. Sol system, Orion arm. The production crew actually started laughing, not with me, just spontaneously laughing. Now, I should mention that humans were relatively new to the galactic community. They had made first contact maybe 8 cycles ago, and their integration had been, how do I put this politely, underwhelming. They were classified as a Class C species, which is diplomatic speak for not particularly impressive. Their technology was decent, but nothing groundbreaking. Their ships were functional, but slow. Their diplomats were friendly, but kept to themselves mostly. They hadn't made any significant impact on galactic politics, economics, or culture. They were just kind of there, existing quietly in their little corner of the Orion arm. The general assessment was that Earth was a low-gravity world, based on preliminary scans, and the fact that humans seemed kind of fragile compared to most spacefaring species. They didn't have natural armor, they didn't have redundant organs, they didn't have enhanced senses or any obvious physical advantages. They were just the soft, pink or brown in various shades in between bipeds who seemed perpetually surprised that the galaxy was so dangerous. So when the announcement came that a human had entered the championships, the reaction was pretty much universal mockery. The betting markets, which normally took every challenger seriously because upsets make for great drama, set Elena Vasquez's odds at 5,000 to 1. Again, that's not a typo, 5,000 to 1. You could bet 1 credit and potentially win 5,000 if she managed to win even a single match. Most bookies weren't even bothering to take bets because they assumed it was free money. I pulled up her registration file. Captain Elena Vasquez, 34 standard years old, former cargo pilot for the Human Colonial Transport Service. No formal military training listed, no previous combat sports experience. Her medical scan showed she was in excellent health for a human, but that meant nothing when compared to someone like Kravet. She stood approximately 1.7 meters tall, she weighed maybe 70 kilograms, she had dark hair pulled back in a practical bun, brown eyes that seemed almost bored in her registration photo, and absolutely nothing about her suggested she belonged anywhere near a combat arena. The brackets put her in a preliminary match against a mid-tier Vorlaxi named Crusher. Even that seemed almost cruel. Crusher wasn't championship material, but he was solid, experienced, and outweighed Elena by at least 200 kilograms. The betting odds on that specific match weren't even being calculated. It was considered a foregone conclusion. I finished my prep work, made a note to keep the commentary light on the Vasquez match because it would probably be over in under 30 seconds, and headed down to the arena floor to do some pre-tournament interviews. This was going to be, I thought, a perfectly normal championship cycle. I had no idea how wrong I was. The thing about galactic intelligence classifications is that they're only as good as the data you collect, and apparently nobody had bothered to collect very good data about Earth. The initial survey team had done a flyby scan, noted the gravity of 0.9 standard, saw that humans didn't have any obvious biological weapons or natural defenses, and basically filed them under not a threat, possibly useful for trade, standard procedure for Class C species. What nobody had apparently considered, and this still baffles me, is that maybe, just maybe, you should do more than a surface scan before making assumptions. But no, we had centuries of protocol and classification systems, and they had never steered us wrong before, so why start questioning them now? I'm being sarcastic, in case that wasn't clear. I am very good at sarcasm. The assumption was simple. Low-gravity world equals weak species. It was basic evolutionary logic. Species adapt to their environment. Lighter gravity means less resistance, which means less muscle development, which means physically inferior specimens. We had dozens of examples across the galaxy that supported this theory. The Philaxians from their 0.6 gravity homeworld could barely function in standard gravity without assistance. The Tremoli needed exoskeletons just to walk around most stations. It made perfect sense. Except, as it turned out, Earth was not a low-gravity world. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I made my way down to the preparation rooms about an hour before the tournament started. These rooms were basically reinforced cells where the fighters could warm up, mentally prepare, and occasionally trash-talk each other through the walls. The rooms were monitored, of course, because we had learned the hard way that some species considered pre-fight assassinations to be a legitimate strategy. Elena Vasquez was in room 7. I pulled up the camera feed on my datapad, expecting to see her panicking, praying to whatever gods humans believed in, or maybe trying to figure out how to forfeit without losing too much dignity. Instead, she was doing push-ups, just regular push-ups, in full standard gravity like it was nothing. She had been at it for 20 minutes and she wasn't even breathing hard. I counted. She did 500 before she stopped, stood up, rolled her shoulders, and took a sip of water. Her expression was calm, not fearless exactly, more like someone waiting for a shuttle that was running slightly